3 side hustles, 3 failures, 1 brutal education, and somehow that's the best thing that ever happened to me. We live in an era where every other YouTube thumbnail promises you'll make $10,000 a month selling candles from your garage. And honestly, past me believed every single one of them. So let's talk about why the dream died 3 separate times before it finally, stubbornly refused to. The first idea was dropshipping, which in 2020 felt like printing money until about 4 months in when I realized I was printing money for everyone except myself. You've got product costs, ad spend, platform fees, and a customer in Ohio who wants a refund on a dog sweater that took 6 weeks to arrive from overseas. That's not a business, that's a punishment. The second attempt was freelance graphic design. And look, I can make a decent logo, but decent in a market full of people charging $15 for professional work is basically invisible. I spent more time on Fiverr tweaking my profile than I ever did actually designing, which tells you everything about where the real work was going. The third one, and this one stings, was a print-on-demand store where I was genuinely convinced my niche was unbeatable. Spoiler, motivational quotes for left-handed accountants is, in fact, very beatable, specifically by the complete absence of any customers whatsoever. Here's the real reason all 3 died. And it's not bad luck or bad timing. It was the fatal mismatch between effort required and return on effort I had actually budgeted for. Every failed side hustle looked passive on the surface and was absolutely exhausting underneath, which is the oldest bait and switch in the entrepreneurial playbook. Think of it like buying a treadmill. It looks like fitness. It promises transformation. But if it doesn't fit your actual daily rhythm, it becomes a very expensive coat rack. The business models weren't broken. The fit between those models and my specific constraints of time, skill, and patience was catastrophically wrong. There's a real psychological toll to failing publicly, even at small scale, because you start to wonder if the problem is the idea or if the problem is you. Gary Vee will tell you to hustle harder. Your friends will say, maybe it's just not for you. And neither of them is entirely right or entirely wrong, which is deeply unhelpful when you're staring at a Shopify dashboard showing 0 sales. History is littered with people who tried the wrong thing first and then found the right thing second or third or seventh. Howard Schultz was turned down by 217 investors before Starbucks became Starbucks, which is either deeply inspiring or a terrifying reminder that persistence without feedback is just stubbornness wearing a blazer. What finally worked was leaning into something adjacent to real assets, specifically connecting people with opportunities in real estate and contracting, where the value is tangible and the need is constant. You're not manufacturing demand when someone's roof is leaking, or when someone genuinely wants to build long-term wealth through property. The demand is already there, loudly asking for help. A huge misconception people have is that a side hustle has to be completely new and revolutionary to succeed, when actually the most durable businesses solve the oldest, most boring problems in a slightly better way. You don't need to invent a category. You need to find a category where trust is scarce and supply it reliably. The practical lesson across all 3 failures is painfully simple. Validate before you invest. And invest means your time just as much as your money. Spend 2 weeks testing whether anyone actually wants what you're selling before you spend 2 months building the thing they don't. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it is the only actual competitive advantage available to a regular person operating without venture capital or a famous last name. The people who win at side hustles long-term are almost never the most creative. They're the most consistent, the most patient, and the least emotionally attached to any single outcome. At the end of it all, failure isn't the opposite of a strategy. Failure done consciously, with reflection and adjustment, is the strategy. Size your bets accordingly, stay in the game long enough to learn something, and resist the very human urge to quit right before the lesson arrives. We're comfortable with the messy middle because that's exactly where the real opportunity lives. And if you're ready to skip a few of those expensive lessons and move towards something with real, proven traction, check out our links in the description below, where we can help you get started in real estate investing, home contracting work, and finding lenders.